Lady Vols. That's been something. We asked the question if Kellie Harper was on the hot seat yesterday. I would say roughly 80 to 90% agreed with us and actually thought we played it a little soft. That said, why isn't she on the hot seat? She absolutely is. Is there that even a question? Um, and then they lose to MTSU. Your thoughts before we get into four downs, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
Yeah, that's a really bad loss. Getting blown out by Ohio State or losing against other high quality opponents. The loss against Notre Dame where they have the lead and then give it up. That's at least against high quality competition from big conferences. Losing to Middle Tennessee within the state, and a program that shouldn't be on the level of the Lady Vols because of obvious reasons, that's not going to sit well. Then when you're in the second half, you're trying to come back to win the game, and then it goes that way. The record's not good. The disappointment of losing big games at least allows the chance of, okay, well, let's see how they do against the teams they'll beat. You assume going in, and then get to conference play and try to catch up there. And now that kind of conversation is out the window. I hate to see it because it's a program that we know the history. We also know that history includes Kellie Harper as a player, and there is no question how much she wants Tennessee to win. Not just because she's the head coach and she's in charge of the program. That's obvious. I had a chance to talk to her in August. She was on with the show we were doing, and her face lit up when I asked her about football season because she was just so excited about the build up to football because she cares about the University of Tennessee, and she is as big of a fan if you're going to a football game or a men's game as any other fan that's watching or listening to us right now. So her passion and how much she cares about UT is unquestioned. And I think fans often want to see that, but there also has to be results. And Kellie Harper came back knowing what the standard is, and she was a part of winning national titles, and that was her goal. And right now they don't really appear to be close there.
It's interesting, and it's a perfect lead-in to four downs brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
Four Downs brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all four seasons. Four Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
So, Josh, you can go ahead and jump in the spa with who?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Let's get to it with Coop. Again, imagine having the best spas right here in Athens. You can do that. Complete support spa covering chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts right down below for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton and no one will ever notice. Dynasty Pools and Spas, dynastyspas.com. Coop, what down?
Coop here. First down.
All right, let me start with Josh. Should Kellie Harper or anybody for that matter be given any more slack because they have ties to the program as you just discussed?
No, they should be judged based on job performance and where the program is moving forward. The connection, in this case being a former player at the school, makes it a lot harder, I think, for a lot of people. But no, the evaluation should be based on job performance, state of the program, everything that matters for that person to do his or her job, no matter the previous ties to the school.
All right. Jump in the spa, Caleb, with Cooper. Should she be given more leeway?
No, and this is why hiring former players is always a problem. And I say, Dave, let's look at football. Johnny Majors, Philip Fulmer, the pushing out of Johnny Majors. That was a serious division for Tennessee and a really, really hard thing to do. And also, let's be honest. I'm going to say this. I know he built Tennessee up in the Johnny Majors got a 10-year leash that he did not deserve because he was a former player. I mean, Tennessee was mediocre for a decade.
That's a really good point. In the spot with Coop.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right. Is Tennessee a good or great job given the pressure that's going to be on the individual, Josh, to live up to Pat Summitt's legacy, which no one can do?
I still think it's a great job because of the resources that come with it, and that includes the salary. If you're worthy of it. I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to be willing to spend LSU money like they did on Kim Mulkey. Maybe they would. I don't know that to be the case, and I know money is being allocated elsewhere, so you have to make difficult choices there sometimes. But I do think it's a great job in women's basketball because of the passion of fans and the resources that come with trying to build. If you're able to actually get it there. Just take any coach out there, say they're all free agents. Tennessee would offer as much potential to succeed as any of the programs we would talk about.
All right, Caleb, same question for you. Good or great job?
Totally disagree, Josh. It's not a good or a great job. It's the worst job in women's college basketball.
Yeah.
The reason it's the worst job is the expectations. It is the equivalent of the Notre Dame football job, which is the expectations of what you are expected to do, but also you're expected to do it a certain way that it's not possible to do this day and age in women's college basketball, which is there's the whole don't use any recruiting advantages you might have because we got to recruit the right way. And Tennessee has this culture because of the people that embraced the women's basketball program in the 70s when they embraced Title IX that is still there of don't take any shortcuts. Don't do what Gino Auriemma does when he gives people tours of ESPN to recruit. Don't use those advantages. That's going to wreck Tennessee in the end. It just is. And it's the same with it is the Notre Dame football job, but for women's basketball.
I guess I'll be somewhere in between. I don't think it's a worse job. Certainly not.
Yeah, it's not the worst job. That's not correct.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you're afraid, I guess. But I mean, come on.
I don't think it's possible to win a national title at Tennessee until they start accepting that they change their culture. You can't do it.
Okay,
you can't do it until you change your culture.
So speaking of, and Dynasty pulls and spas 4 downs with Coop.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here, 3rd down.
Fair expectations. Here are my thoughts. Let me get you a yay or nay on this, guys, because we got to move along. But I think 2 Final Fours within 5 years, and I don't even want to say a national championship. I mean, that's how much the women's game has changed and Tennessee's program has changed. But, Josh, let me just open up to you. What are fair expectations? What do you tell the next coach that takes this job that she needs or he needs to do to keep that job?
Yeah, I think it's more about being competitive and every once in a while winning an SEC championship. And then, yeah, you need to get back to the Final Four. But I don't think the expectation is national championship or you're out. I mean, that's part of the problem here is that the Lady Vols for several years now have not appeared realistically that close to a Final Four, let alone a national title. So I don't even think that's where the expectation is. I think the expectation is that you're just kind of in the mix among the best teams in the country, and Tennessee hasn't been that.
And to beat the Blue Raiders. Caleb?
I actually totally agree with Josh. I think that's exactly what even though I disagreed last time, that should be the expectations, is to flirt with the Final Four. But again, to meet those expectations, they have to change some of the demands over how you're expected to win, because that's not possible otherwise. And I'm just going to say, you guys all said I was crazy 2 weeks ago when we asked who would last longer, Kellie Harper or Rick Barnes at Tennessee. I think I was right when I said Rick Barnes.
I would have said Rick Barnes. I think we all said Rick Barnes. Josh,
I think you're a part of that conversation.
Maybe that was with Jimmy. Maybe that was with Jimmy. No, I think y'all said. I think you guys said Kelly because she's younger and Rick Barnes is older.
I was actually going to go with the golf coach. That's what Jimmy suggested.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here, 4th down.
All right, here's my idea. And Josh, I know you don't have a lot of time, but here's my idea. Okay, if you want to fix the Lady Vols, I can do it in one fell swoop. You ready? I'm going to NIL some young lady like there's no tomorrow. And I am going to throw a lot of money. There's usually 1 star. Am I wrong, Caleb? You know more about the women's game than I do. There's usually 1 star per class, usually. Caitlin Clark kind of sort of came out of nowhere, but we knew about Maya Moore. We knew about Candace Parker. I'm going to go NIL a lady, and she is going to come to the program, and 1 player can make a huge difference. And then I'm not going to spend a lot more NIL money because I don't think there's a return on investment. Trust me, I've looked into it. But I'm going to NIL somebody. I'm going to fix the Lady Vols if I'm Danny White. That's what I'm doing. Do you love it, hate it, or Josh?
Well, I think that's a starter.
It's that bad. That's just throwing a couple of million at somebody, just a starter.
Yeah, the problem is, though, I don't think it's as simple as, hey, if you have that one star, it doesn't matter as much what's around her. Like LSU they've put together several really talented players. They had Angel Reese, and I know there's been some of the she's away from the team with everything that's gone on there. But they went out and they got a big time transfer from Louisville to come in to join Angel Reese. So I don't think it's as simple as having just one. Rakia Jackson's a big transfer they brought in, and she's not with the team, and that's hurting. If they had her, I would think they beat MTSU. But I think you need more than one. That's a good start because you're right. There's Candace Parker came in, and that changed their potential as a program. But I do think it's deeper than that.
It's kind of like Victor Wembanyama for Pat Summitt. It was the second, she had the Meeks already, but then she had another booster of career. You're smiling. Why are you smiling at me? I thought that was a good comparison, Josh.
First of all, I don't know that the pronunciation was great. I also,
okay, you go for it. You go for it.
Victor Wembanyama.
Wembanyama.
Ia Male Ava.
Yeah.
Ia Male Ava. I've got that one down. Ia Male Ava.
Parker was probably better.
I'll work on
easier
Wemby.
for you.
Yes, I'll work on Wemby. Where were we, Caleb?
Yeah, I'm with Josh. Maya Moore was probably the last, maybe Breonna Stewart, like women's basketball player where you get this one recruit and it makes you dominant. And Candace Parker was that. Hence the reason Gina Oriema to this day snubs Candace Parker in just a really slick, sick, sleazy way for someone to be that petty. But because he really wanted Candace Parker too. And it was kind of a shot in the arm for Pat Summitt at the time, because remember, there was a drought for Tennessee from that 98 team before they got Candace Parker, where they weren't winning national championships. So I get your point, Dave, but I think you NIL 2 players, not one. You NIL 2 players. But the question, again, I'm telling you guys this, I think there is a legion of hardcore Lady Vol fans that would not be okay with that. And I think that they're a little old school.
The Lady Vols are mad that they're not getting as much NIL money as they think they should get.
They
I can tell you
pushed
that for a fact.
Well, I believe that, but they pushed. The reason they're not is stuff like Philip Fulmer. This is, by the way, this will
Caleb,
wreck his
hold
legacy.
your thoughts. Josh, how do we follow your work?
Oh, sorry.
People check out the column.
Yeah, seriously. I think I even noted it in there, but if you see the Derek Dooley numbers in the column I wrote today, you're like, that Josh screwed something up. This isn't correct. There's no way this is how few games he won. That's not right. It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. At the time, I was like, this is historically bad. I said this in 2012. I was like, he's got to be right up there with some of the worst coaches. I said, oh, you're so young. You don't know the histories. Look at these numbers. How can you be that bad when you consider the resources at Tennessee? So, yeah, appreciate you giving me a chance to write that. And follow me on Twitter so I can get an e-boost.
At Josh_Ward, because we pointed out before that Josh, at Josh Ward is a country singer. Do you still get tweets about him? How's his career going, by the way?
I got tagged on like a show maybe a week or two ago that he was playing. And I think somebody on my I have a Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/Josh Ward. So like it. And I think somebody liked it and sent me a message like, love your music. It's like that.
If we haven't heard about him by now, then we're never going to, because everybody and their brother is making a country music hit now. What is it?
Get me enough NIL. I will fly to whatever show he is booked for, and I will show up and I will sing every single one of George Strait's 50 number ones. Happy to do it for the right NIL price.
Smoky Mountain Red says, buy a cowboy hat, Josh. Would you wear a cowboy hat during the show if I got you one?
Again, for the right NIL, everything's got a price. But
when I was
really little, I love
pools
cowboy hats and boots.
Dynasty pools and spas right on the front. All right, Josh, great stuff. He's noon to 3 on the Sports Animal. We always appreciate you. Tennessee Lady Vol basketball, the worst job in women's athletics, according to Caleb. I'll leave you with that.
It's a terrible job. It's a terrible job.
We're on different sides in this one.
Thank you, Josh. I mean, Caleb, that's a little strong. I mean, they got Thompson Bowling Arena. Hold on. They got Thompson Bowling Arena. They got Pratt Pavilion. I mean, they got a lot of stuff going for them that makes it a good job.
So does Notre Dame in football. Notre Dame, you have agreed with me, is the worst job in football.
But Notre Dame has limitations on its coaches' decisions.
So do the Lady Vols. That's what I was trying to bring up. The Lady Vols have limitations on how you can recruit as a Tennessee coach. They don't let you recruit certain ways, and they have limitations on who they can even hire. Philip Fulmer was told, "Don't hire anybody that's not a Lady Vol," and basically people he did not want to hire. He kind of almost acknowledged this actually in the press conference when she was hired. He said, I didn't really get the culture. It was like, no, you got to hire a Lady Vol. He was big on that because they were pushing him. This is the problem with the Lady Vols culture, and no one is seeing it. But they have an old school, stuck in the 1970s, as if Title IX just started culture that will be their undoing. The Lady Vol culture, I'm going to say it, and you guys can come at me. I don't really care. Pat Summitt was wrong for canceling the series with UConn. She was wrong. Gina Auriemma, I don't like Gina Auriemma, but that was a stupid move on her part to overreact and cancel over the Maya Moore thing. And it did not hurt UConn. It hurt Tennessee.
No, I didn't think it hurt either particular program. I thought it hurt the women's game, and I was disappointed she made that decision. But, man, if you go a career like she has, and I disagree with one decision you made over the course of your career, that's pretty good. I'll say this about the NIL deal with the Lady Vols, too, and that is there old school thinking? I don't know, but I know that in discussions with the Lady Vols people, that we wanted to do a podcast like we do with Jacob Warren and Cooper Mays, and we wanted to do that with a Lady Vol. And the first question was, well, you've got this Jacob and you got this Jacob and Cooper guy. What are they getting? I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, those are two different things, two different responses that you can expect from an audience, and that's tangible. So they have to get beyond that, beyond the fact that NIL is going to somehow save them. It's not. And it's not going to save any women's program. And the entire landscape of women's basketball is drastically changed. So if you haven't followed as closely because of Pat Summitt, there's 10 or 12 teams, Caleb, that can win 8 to 10 that can win a national championship every year. During Pat Summitt's heyday, there was probably 3 or 4. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And well, let me just tell you why I'm criticizing this culture. Now, I get the Dave Hart taking the Lady Vols thing off. That was ridiculous. Keep the Lady Vols name. Okay, fine. But the fan base was split. Half the fans thought he was wrong for basically forcing Pat Summitt to retire. Guys, how could you not think Pat Summitt should have retired when she had her tragic, awful illness? You can't coach during that time.
Ago. It's 15 years.
That was 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay. And as far as the Lady Vols, will they make a change? Yes, they're going to make a change.
Their demands are stupid.
I would be stunned if they didn't make a change after this year, unless something turns around. But let it get to March. If Tennessee makes the Final Four, then this discussion is moot. We've seen this before with basketball coaches. It's a tournament sport. It's not like football.